First of all, this is not a natural resource. This is a man-made mud puddle sitting in the middle of this industrial park that's here to advance industry in the state of Michigan. It's nonsensical.
The DEQ and the Department of Agriculture said they were smarter than me. They said, you will do as I say, when I say, and how I say.
Dolores Michaels and Al Taylor are two of many Michigan business owners who have reached out to the Mackinac Center over the years. They were simply looking to start up or expand their businesses, but instead ran into a regulatory nightmare, all under the auspices of protecting the state's natural resources.
When agencies develop such strong bureaucratic processes and make it so difficult for people to get a permit and legally develop an area, what ends up happening is actually you hurt natural resource protection rather than enhancing it. And the primary reason for that is many people simply give up.
Russ Harding is the center's senior environmental policy analyst. He also spent many years as director of Michigan's Department of Environmental Quality. Harding says unless something is done, stories like these will continue and drive more people from Michigan along with their businesses.
We want to protect our natural resources. We need to do that, but we also need job creation. You know, we hear a lot about quality of life issues. Well, quality of life is important, but it's difficult to have a quality of life also if you don't have a job.
So Harding wrote A Blueprint for Reform, a publication that lists what Harding calls common sense solutions.
It's things like ensuring that people that are actually elected, our state legislators, make these decisions, not some state employee in a cubicle somewhere that's unaccountable to the public, and refer to that as regulation without representation.
Charlie Curtis is yet another entrepreneur who wanted to build a business, but wound up in a DEQ battle over his own property.
Obviously, this is a man-made ditch, and the basis for the DEQ taking jurisdiction over this thing is because it's a quote-unquote navigable waterway. I've kind of made just a personal decision to not invest in any more projects in Michigan. I could see the handwriting on the wall that the deck is pretty much rigged against me.
You know, we have about roughly 13% unemployment. We've had a decade of loss of jobs. And we also live in a state where natural resources are important, but the balance of protecting those resources and having a regulatory system that is friendly to individuals and businesses to conduct their business hasn't been established. And it's swung over to really a situation where the state is really stopping development through ridiculous requirements, and people just can't interface very well with the system.
Harding says if followed, his blueprint for reform can save jobs and help people like Charlie, Al, and Dolores.
One of the things that I recommend is that we have a single permitting agency that is a one-stop shop. Whether you need a license to run a barber shop or you need an environmental wetland permit, you have one agency to come to. That's their job. They're accountable to both the governor and the legislature, and their effectiveness in carrying out that mission can easily be looked at and graded. In fact, we've also recommended a grade card. We've recommended things like time frames that are mandatory for issuing permits. As an individual or a business, if you comply with the law, you should have a reasonable expectation that at the end of the day you'll get your permit in a timely manner. And that simply is not occurring in Michigan. Other states have figured out how to do it. It's time we do it in Michigan. No matter what our labor policy, our tax policies are, if you can't get through this barrier of this regulatory morass we have in the state, we certainly are not going to prosper.
I think the people in the state of Michigan better start looking at their legislators and start looking at the laws around them.
I will fight this private property taking in the courts. But even if we are to win, our future expansion will not be in the state of Michigan if our state government does not rein in the mindless, self-serving regulatory agencies.